Hey guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to another podcast, another episode of Chatter from the Vox. I've got Mike back with me.
Hello.
And it's been a little while since we've done a podcast because schedules haven't lined up and it's been horrific for the pair of us.
Yeah, it's been tough.
But now it's settling down.
But we're back, yeah.
Back with a vengeance, thank God. So I did 2 days of filming last week as well for YouTube and for DZ. I've got 3 days of filming next week plus this podcast tonight. So there's loads of stuff coming, thankfully. So we're now building the content back up and the release schedule will hit back to normal again.
Sweet.
We're almost fully booked up for filming for the whole of January, which is good. So there shouldn't be this big a break again.
Hopefully.
As long as Mike isn't selfish enough to go away on a week's holiday.
To have a holiday.
Yeah.
I know. It's not actually me, it's been selfish. It's my dad being selfish for being 60.
It's pretty selfish.
It is, isn't it?
He could have been 60 anytime he wanted, right?
Yeah, I know.
So we're back with this particular podcast. We planned this on purpose because the release videos went live yesterday. The NDAs were no longer in place yesterday for Chapter Approved 2018.
Indeed.
And for the Vigilus campaign book as well. So there's stuff literally for matched play people, for tournament play people, for narrative people. So it's been a really good weekend of announcements and stuff that's coming out. And we're basically going to sort of blabber about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through, isn't there? A lot to talk about, lots of things that interest us and some things probably don't interest us that much.
So a point to note for you guys that listen to us on Podbean, on iTunes, or if I have decided to bother my backside to put this on YouTube, which I probably will because it's quite easy. We are also live to our Patreons. So some of you probably don't know, Warhammer has a Patreon page. It's a subscription-based Patreon page, as all are, and it gives you access to our Discord, which is horrifically busy. And what we do now with our podcasts almost every time, if we get the chance, is we open it up to live chat at the same time. So we are sat here currently with 10, 11, 12 of the Patreons sat here listening at the same time.
Yeah.
We've got a podcast channel on our Discord and they can chat to us at the same time that we record this. So that's really cool. If they bring up a comment that we want to talk about, we tend to read it out from who it's from and talk about it. So although you can't hear them obviously in this recording because they're muted because they're just too noisy.
Much too noisy.
We'll tell you who it is, we'll tell you what the question is and we'll talk about that thing. So it might sound a bit weird because we're engaging with people that aren't here, but if you want to be part of it, come and join us on Discord. Good fun and it's very busy, very busy.
From as little as $2 a month, you can join our community.
Yeah.
And a great community it is too.
And actually, all the Patreon levels will be changing in the new year. And part of the reason is we've just acquired ourselves a Waller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Martin Waller decided to give it a go himself. Wasn't a massive fan of organising it himself, didn't like it. So I had a long old chat with him. We had a bit of a business meet, so to speak, and he is now part of our team, essentially.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do when we restructure the Patreon levels come January, when his Patreon finally closes, is we're going to integrate that into our levels. So certain Patreon levels for Warhammer will give you access to Martin Waller figure painter channels, basically.
Yeah.
And he does step-by-step guides and painting guides and all kinds of stuff.
Just help for people who ask questions. Any specific, how do I paint this colour on this model or whatever?
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
The higher levels get one-on-one feedback and one-on-one sort of tuition and stuff. We're organising painting classes through the Warhammer brand next year, where he'll take sort of 10 or 15 people through painting classes that'll be paid for direct to him because it's his work.
I might have to get him on that.
But we will exactly. But and the higher level patrons for Warhammer will get discounts and early access and all that kind of stuff. Martin Waller, if you don't know, which he's just said, did you explain who Martin Waller is? Well, people probably know him more than they know me. Martin is a insane painter in the Warhammer world. He is a multiple Golden Demon winner. He's got a Slayer sword.
Just to clarify, insanely good painter.
No, he's just insane.
Not just an insane man.
No, he's just insane, yeah. No. He's on Instagram. Check out Martin Waller Figure Painting and you'll see some of the stuff he's done. He's incredible. So having him on board will be amazing. And we've booked in today, the first day that I'm going to go up there with him with the camera.
Cool.
And we're going to do the first set of painting tutorials.
Nice.
And they'll be going up on Warhammer as well. So he's going to teach blending and wet blending and edging and all that kind of stuff. So we're really, really, really looking forward to having him on board and filming some videos as well. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gives the guys something else for being a patron of this channel, that they can engage with him and speak to him and talk in his channels and get feedback and stuff like that. So that's really cool. So I'm really, really happy with that. And that's about it on the news front, really, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, I think there's lots of things going to be happening in the near future. I mean, we're kind of, what are we, the 10th of December, is it? Or the 9th of December today? Something like that?
Today's the 9th, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that kind of busy Christmas period. So just getting content regular for this month, and then, the new year, I'm sure lots of things will be kicking off and starting more regularly and big stuff coming.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to what we've got coming now as well, which is amazing. And having Martin on board is just special, really, because basically I set up his Discord and I set up his Patreon because I thought he could probably do really, really well. Yeah. Because he's amazing. And him saying, I don't like doing this organising stuff. So I set it up for him, but it's his to run, right? Because I'm busy enough. When he said, I don't like doing this organising stuff, how about I come and do it for you instead? Literally jumped at the chance.
Okay.
Please do. So yeah, that's awesome. Right. Anything you want to add?
No, let's get on with it. Let's talk about some hobby and game related stuff.
Yeah, so chapter approved has just been announced yesterday. We knew it was coming anyway. It's been announced yesterday. It's available for pre-order. Comes out on Saturday. So this will go up tomorrow. This will come up on Monday on podcast at the latest. YouTube hopefully tomorrow afternoon as well.
Cool.
So this is currently available for pre-order.
Yeah.
The NDAs have been lifted for the channels that had them.
Yes.
I may have had a cheeky look at it myself anyway.
No.
And I looked at it and thought, honestly, this is awesome. On the whole, there's a couple of I have one gripe, and it's not really a gripe.
It wouldn't be a Games Workshop release without a Liam gripe, would it?
No. It's not really a gripe. I mean, it is, but it isn't. The only gripe I have of all the releases and all the rumoured releases and all the rumoured stuff in chapter approved is that they didn't really address soup all that much. Now, I mean, I've looked at the Heat 3 results today from Warhammer World, from Heat 3, and I would suggest that Imperial soup currently isn't that much of a problem anymore. Because they fixed the command point farming. Actually, a lot of us went, is that enough? It seems that for Imperial soup, that was enough.
Well, when you look at what the composite parts of those really nasty lists were, is a Castellan and Smash Captains, Blood Angel Smash Captains.
With loads of strats.
Loads of stratagems. Yeah. I mean, really, really command point hungry. They needed that farm to sustain them.
Yes.
And that's the only way it was ever a viable list. Can't do that farm, can't run those lists anymore, basically.
Yeah. So those well, you can.
You can, but after turn 3, certainly, you got no command points left.
Yeah, they're still good lists, and they're still, even after turn 3 with no command points left, they're still good. They're just not as game breaking as they were.
Yeah, and I think what you see as well is people stop playing them because they know that they're not as effective as they were, so they look for something else. Yeah. So they drop away because people think they've been nerfed as much as because they have. What
we were talking about earlier, I think it might be, was it in Discord or WhatsApp? But by the by, what we were talking about earlier is that what hasn't been touched is other soup. So like Eldari.
Eldari, yeah.
The Eldar, Dark Eldar, Harlequin, Ynnari, all that combination soup, that hasn't been tackled because they didn't rely on command point farming.
No, that's right. I don't quite know why Games Workshop is so reluctant to nerf the Space Fairies. They don't seem to have any appetite to do it, do they?
Not really. There's been some points changes that will affect Eldar slightly. So the two big hot things really in Eldari lists are essentially Shining Spears and Wave Serpents.
Oh, Wave Serpents, okay.
And Reapers. All three have gone up in points.
Have they?
Yeah. So they are clearly addressing it to a point.
This is the second time Reapers have gone up. So.
Yeah, I think Reapers have gone up. I know for a fact that Shining Spears have gone up. So Shining Spears have gone up about 6 points or something, or 5 points. But saying that, dual or twin Shuriken Catapults have come down 2 points. So they've gone up a total of about 3 or 4 points per model, which is quite big. A squad of 10, which is popular, is now 300 odd points, right?
Yeah, you see, they seem to be balancing things quite a lot by making point changes to weapons. So that means that normal jet bikes are cheaper as well, isn't it?
Yeah, normal jet bikes have come down in price, as have their Shuriken Catapults. Yeah. So they're even cheaper again. I think they're down to sort of like 50 points for 3 now, which is back to where they used to be. They used to be 51 points for 3. And the reason why they used to be broken at that points cost was purely because they were a troops choice that had objectives secured.
Yeah.
And that made them disgusting.
Definitely.
Now they're not a troops choice, and they had a 3-up armor save. Now they're not a troops choice, they're not objective secured, they don't have a 3-up armor save. So that 51 point price tag is probably about right, dare I say.
Yeah.
Now, so they have nerfed Shining Spears to a degree. There was a guy in one of our WhatsApp chats who suggested that nerfing them by that many points made them unplayable. Talking absolute rubbish. They're still one of the strongest units in the Ynnari arsenal.
Shining Spears? Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially in the Ynnari
it doesn't change what they can do. They can still zip across the board, annihilate a unit, and then zip halfway across the board again.
And actually, one of the big issues with Aldari is something that Rob Not Steve, if you don't know who Rob Not Steve is, he's been on Winters SEO numerous times and deploymentzone.tv. He's just said it himself. Psychic powers cast by craft worlds benefiting Drukhari is a big problem. So this is something that I'm really surprised they haven't fixed.
Yeah.
Because they did it with demons. With demons and Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines with demon keywords and Thousand Sons with demon keywords and Nurgle with demon keywords. The big issue I think was Death Guard and Nurgle demons is they made a statement about how certain things affected certain keywords and how they interacted. And it stopped certain things from, say, the Demon's Codex affecting models with a demon keyword from the Death Guard Codex, for example.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Okay.
So they've already made that differentiation in demons. In the Demons and Nurgle book, for example, that they are, one is Chaos Space Marines and one is Chaos Demons. They are different.
Are they? Is that because there's the Chaos Demons keyword and the Chaos Space Marines keyword, and they only affect one or the other, or is it because they say this particular one is aimed at Chaos Demons, but not if they've got the Chaos Space Marines?
It's weird. It's to do with how Chaos Demons keyword sits in faction, I think. And for demon stuff in the Chaos Space Marine book, the demon doesn't sit in the faction keyword, just in the normal keyword.
Yeah, okay.
And it's weird. There's an explanation on the FAQ, which maybe I will put up a bit later on. But the long and short...
We'll not try and butcher that in trying to remember it properly.
The long and short of it is they basically made it that certain strats and stuff can't affect. Psychic powers can, for example.
Yeah.
So there's a Tzeentch psychic power that says it affects a Tzeentch demon unit, and one of them is you get +1 to wound in the fight phase, I think it is. Okay. You could cast that on a Thousand Sons unit with the psychic keyword, for example, and that works fine. So you can do that.
Yeah.
So it does exist, but...
well, with Eldari, I mean, the whole Drukhari Codex is balanced to not have psychic powers in it.
Yes.
So that's something they deliberately don't have, and therefore they have other things to compensate. So when you take that away from them, that restriction away, and they can then benefit from
saying
Doom,
that as well.
And
this is the other thing with Doom is the Doom's such a blanket statement that anything that can ally in with Eldar, Drukhari, Ynnari, Harlequins,
any of your units
can use it.
Yeah.
And that's one of those rules where you need to specify if a unit's the target of Doom, this particular faction keyword can reroll failed to wounds.
Yeah. Other Craft Worlds bracket.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. So Chris Ansell's just updated us on the Discord for the FAQ. When a stratagem, this is why they're really useful to have around. When a stratagem from Chaos Codex Chaos Demons uses the Demons keyword, can it also affect any unit with Demon keyword or only units from the Demon faction keyword? The answer from GW was stratagems can only affect units with the Demon faction keyword, and that's straight from the FAQ page. That's how they. They nerf that, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, things like Warp Surge, which was 2 command points to gain and +1 to your vulnerable save, was getting silly for some Chaos Space Marine units. I mean, Warp Surge is another one that's, dare I say it, pissed me off.
Okay.
Because they nerfed that in an FAQ to say that you couldn't get better than a 4+ invulnerable save with Warp Surge. So one of the reasons why they did that is because Tzeentch Demons. So Tzeentch Demons get a rule called Ephemeral Form or Ephemeral Form.
Ephemeral, yeah.
Yeah, which basically gives them +1 to their vulnerable save. So Demonic Form or Demonic whatever gives them a 5+ invulnerable to anything in the Demon's Codex pretty much. Thousand Sons, Tzeentch Demon units get +1.
Yeah.
So you could put Warp Surge on it and they got 3+ invulnerable saves.
Yeah.
Which is a bit good.
Bit dirty.
So you could also do a Bloodthirster. You could give the Bloodthirster Armour of Scorn, 4+ invulnerable, drop Warp Surge on him for 2 command points, 3+ invulnerable. I know because I used to do it because it's very, very good.
Why wouldn't you?
Of course. Especially when you've got a big toughness 7, 16 wound monstrous creature that you can't hide.
Yeah,
right.
You cannot hide because its wings are posed just so you cannot hide it.
So they've nerfed it and said you can't get better than 4+.
Yeah.
Do you think they've done that for Imperial Knights?
No. No. I mean, they don't think that long and hard about the ramifications of these things, I think. And the thing is, we know that, like Chapter Approved, for example, was written months ago, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know how long it takes to print, but probably say 6 weeks.
That would have been printed probably before the Auto Codex dropped. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, so that's pretty much 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so months ago it was written. So, you know, it's difficult. To a certain extent, we're almost asking him to predict the future as well,
which they clearly can't do, obviously. But when at the point in which they killed Warp Surge, rotate on a Knight Castellan with a Warlord trait which gives him a 4+ invulnerable, was already still a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, it's the stacking, isn't it? I mean, it's the same with the -1 to hit modifiers, isn't it? It's stacking these things that makes them broken.
And there's been a suggestion,
and not policing that ability.
There's been a suggestion in Discord actually from our Patreons. I don't remember who made the suggestion. In fact, it may have even been you who said, just remove the ability to stack.
Yeah, I did suggest it. I don't think it was my idea. I heard it elsewhere. But removing the ability to stack modifiers would be really easy to do as well.
It fixes so many problems.
Yeah, and from a rules writing perspective and how you actually kind of integrate it into the game, it would be no different to how they integrated the CP farm change, where you can't do it more than once.
I agree.
It's just a kind of...
In fact, I would argue it's simpler than a CP farm change.
It is really. You know, it's a rule, no modifiers may be stacked unless it states otherwise, in case they do want to introduce it at a later stage or something like that.
I think that would be or you can't stack. No, actually, I just think to scrap the whole. I think it's the simplest thing is modifiers, negative or positive modifiers can't be stacked.
Because the -1 is not. I mean, it's not that dirty. The -1's a hit. You know, on certain things. Yeah, I mean, on Venoms, for example. You know, they get a -1 to hit, don't they? Just when they move or whatever, just because they're quick. So that's not particularly dirty.
Even take the Alatok rule set for Eldar. Yeah. So Alatok are currently probably considered as the cheesiest build of pure Eldar. Yeah. Of pure Craftworld Eldar.
Alatok air-winged detachment.
Yeah, because Alatok gives you army. This is the other thing that I think was really strange, and I don't understand why they did this. But they did, for example, Space Marine Codex came out. Everything affects dreadnoughts, infantry, bikes, right? Nothing else, not vehicles. Eldar Codex drops, it affects they're probably better benefits, and it affects everything. Yeah. And I think that was a bit of a oversight, perhaps. Yeah. I don't know.
But I mean, one of the questions that was raised a little bit earlier on is like, when they're going to start redoing the codexes, when they're going to start, they've done them all now, or they're nearly done them, when they're going to start redoing them. And one of the things they'd have to look at would be the Chaos Space Marine Codex, particularly. All of the vehicles in there, everything with a vehicle keyword basically is absolutely trash. It doesn't get affected by anything. It's just a vehicle. It doesn't get any sort of bonuses. Even more so than Space Marine Codex, and they're pretty trash as well.
There's some stuff that does okay. Mauler Fiends with Demon Forge on.
Do they not have a demon keyword or something?
They do have a demon keyword, yeah. And then you can stick Demon Forge on them because of the demon keyword. Yeah. Helldrake. I mean, Helldrakes and Mauler Fiends now, with the points drops they've seen in chapter approved, you'll probably see a lot, especially Helldrakes. I reckon you'll see a lot more Helldrakes. Yeah. Because they've come right down in points.
It's the manoeuvrability as well, isn't it? Yeah. And the flamers and all that sort of stuff.
But they're another weird one. They're a flyer that doesn't have the natural -1 to hit. They don't have that. No. But they can also charge ground targets and stuff. So I think Helldrakes will now be incredibly good. But by the by, Alatok is deemed the dirtiest craft world for Eldar, and that's because the army wide gets -1 to hit. Yeah. Now, then you see, as you mentioned, Alatok flyer detachments, flyer wings, and you'll take 3 Hemlocks. Of course you will. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? So 3 Hemlocks Alatok, they're -2 each. Now, you're talking about the average dice roll is 4+. Yeah. So that's considered average. So Marines that hit on 3+ are considered good. Guard that hit on 4+ are considered average. Yeah. And Orcs that hit on 5+ are considered poor. Yeah. But your average Guard now will be hitting those flyers on 6s. That's tripe. The second they play a 2 command point stratagem, bang, lightning fast reactions, you can't hit it.
Yeah, which is strange. And that's kind of what's so good, one of the things that's so good about the Orc Codex now, isn't it? Because they are less affected by those negative hit modifiers, because they can pop a stratagem, as I understand it, and they'll be 5+ to hit with their Daka or whatever.
But I made a comment yesterday on Discord that stated that there's a rules in the new chapter approved. They've got a new rules section called Cities of Death. Yeah. And Cities of Death is full of cool stuff. It's full of cool stuff. Yeah. And they've got loads and loads and loads and loads of mechanics in there, which I think makes it really cool. they're complex. Okay, so for the new players, they're maybe not an auto include because they're complex. But I have no issue with having levels of complexity within rules. So when you get more comfortable with the rule set you're playing, you move on to the next level. And one of those rules that's in Cities of Death is that a 6 always hits. And I suggested that one of the ways to fix the negative modifiers is that a 6 always hits.
Sure.
I actually think, honestly, that the cancelling out the stacking is a better fix than 6s to hit. Because 6s to hit always, no matter what, is an orc thing. They've got that with Daka.
Yeah.
You give everyone 6s to hit always. They still get the exploding 6s.
Yes.
But it removes half the rule.
Yeah.
If you say everything hits on, or no negative modifiers stack, maybe there's a bit more balance than we need to do there. Your Latoc Hemlocks are still only -1 to hit.
Well, if you put everything hits on a 6, regardless, then if you have a +1 to hit modifier, then it will always hit on 5+. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I mean that gives the stacking of the negative to hit modifiers diminishing returns, doesn't it? Because if you've got -2 to hit on guard, but you can hit on 5s anyway if you've got a +1 hit or something like that, it makes it more of a waste if you've got the -2 to hit modifier, because at a certain point it won't matter. It's like why -2 AP is the sweet spot. Because invulnerable saves mean that 5+ invulnerable saves are quite common, and that means that -3, -4 AP gives you diminishing returns.
Yeah, okay. But Richie said it himself in here. I never thought I'd say this, but he said a comment that I 100% do agree with. This is what I was alluding to yesterday.
Wow, this is going to be good.
1s always misses in the game.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
So he says 1s always misses and 6s always hit. What's the issue? And I think he's 100% right. If one end of the scale we're prepared to say that a 1, no matter who you are, no matter how many buffs or benefits you've got, you can be a Custodes shield captain with +1 or +4 to hit. A 1 is always a miss. And we're saying that 6s are always a hit at the opposite end of the scale. It's basically the same thing, really. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I find it strange that 1s always miss and that 6s don't always hit. It's a strange kind of double standard.
Yeah, I think so. Really? And actually, like we said, they've shown in Kill Team that 6s always hit, so that's a mechanic they're aware of.
Yeah.
They've now brought it out in Cities of Death, 6s always hit.
Yeah.
So we know that it's something they're aware of. Maybe, and I'm spitballing far left here, maybe these are little trials for potential future rules changes.
Yeah, well, I mean, what we've seen with Chapter Approved is there's very, very little in the way of rules changes, datasheet changes. It's all points changes, really.
So Chapter Approved is points balancing.
Yeah.
Big FAQs are rules changes.
Exactly.
And this is something that people were going mental about before Chapter Approved. And I almost fell into the spiral. There was chat about changing this negative to hit modifier to a +1 cover save, and I thought that was rubbish. I didn't think it was rubbish that it would happen. I thought that would be rubbish if they brought that out.
Yeah.
But I fell into it because I got it from a reliable source, so I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
All reliable sources are wrong sometimes. It turns out it was wrong this time. There's lots of other stuff. There was a couple of rumours that Grey Knights and Thousand Suns were going to get full smite back for their aspiring sorcerers. Absolute crap. And
hasn't happened.
People need to realise the way that I look at it, which I think is helpful for some people, is to realise that Chapter Approved is points balancing when it comes to levelling out the game. The big FAQ that happens twice a year, there is where your rules changes will happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's dynamic.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like I say, it's points changes at Chapter Approved and new toys. New missions, new ways to play the game, but not necessarily changes to the way you play the game.
The missions are amazing.
Yeah.
There's some more narrative stuff in there that's really, really cool. Custom character building.
Yeah.
Looted wagon stuff.
Yeah.
That's all really, really cool. It's all for narrative.
Yeah, and I wonder how much we'll see it. I mean, in the last Chapter Approved, you could do custom land raiders.
Yeah.
Never seen one. Never seen anyone talk about it. I mean, they're too expensive anyway, aren't they, land raiders for the get-go?
Well, they're cheaper now.
Yeah, they've got points dropped now, haven't they? I think it's like 40 points or something. I still think it'd be too expensive. But
Richie has asked, is there anything similar in Age of Sigmar? I don't know, Richie, is the honest answer.
Similar to...
So I think similar to the 6s always hit type stuff.
I don't know.
So he has said Daka you can fix by saying that a 6 to hit is automatically 2 hits. I love that for 2 reasons. First of all, if you're going to introduce the 6s always hit, then you give Daka something extra. Yeah. Secondly, as we saw when we watched 4D players Orcs at No Surrender.
As I played 4D as Orcs, yeah.
So the 6s give you an additional hit, actually adds in another speed bump to the game.
It really does. I'm sitting with bad moves as well, and it's re-rolling ones.
He's rolling 30 dice. He's then rerolling 1s because he's bad moons. He's then picking up all of his 6s and going, I've got another 6, for example, maybe. Hits to roll 6s. Or roll 6 dice, pick up his 1s. It's just, you remove that speed bump by saying, actually, 6s just counts 2 hits.
Yeah, I mean, it's regularly 4 rolls to resolve to hit.
Yeah.
4 dice rolls to resolve it, 4 layers of roll.
There is a couple of interesting mechanics in Age of Sigmar that I would love to see in 40k. The one that I want to see the most, because because I love combat, in 40k we have this situation where damage doesn't roll over.
Yeah.
In ranged firepower, I'm kind of okay with it. I think it works.
Yeah.
I think it works. Yeah. In melee, I think it hurts melee armies that it doesn't roll over, it doesn't spill over. So you have a Wraith. So take a Wraith Knight, for example, just because I used one in the last game, that's what I'm thinking familiar
with. Yeah.
It has 4 attacks. It's got a strength 16 sword, AP -4 and a flat 6 damage. And if that charges a squad of 30 orc boys, for example, and it doesn't want to use that childish stompy malarkey,
you're only going to kill 3
swinging
blokes.
that ghost glaive, which is almost as tall as some of the orc vehicles, would only kill 4 orcs maximum.
Yeah.
So if you miss 1 out of your 4 attacks hitting on 3s, which is pretty normal, you're hitting 3 times. You're then wounding on 2s. You'll probably wound 3 times. You could wound 2 times.
Yeah.
You're killing 12 to 18 orcs. I think for a sword that large, swinging through a squad of orcs is.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily want that though, because when I played 40 at No Surrender, his Gorka or Morkan or whichever one it was, I tied up with 30 termagants for 2 turns. Didn't do anything for 2.5 turns, because it just had 30 termagants around, and he just had to, work his way through.
Jesse's just said, Liam, your berserkers eat most things with ease. That's the thing, Jesse. The reason why is because they're single damage attack weapons.
That's it, yeah.
So you can spread across multiple targets with them.
Definitely. There's no loss, is there?
If my 10 berserkers charge a squad of 30 orcs, I could kill all 30 orcs because they're single damage attack. So if you... And they fight twice. So if you have... But why is it that a squad of 10 berserkers can murder 30 orcs in one go, and a Wraith Knight with its sword can't kill more than 4?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Make any sense. No. But well, if you did Stomp Your Feet, it would.
But the thing is, if you do Stomp Your Feet, you've got better. You get better returns.
I always do. Doesn't matter if it's the Reaper Chainsword or it's the Ghost Glaive or whatever it is. Just Stomp Your Feet.
And in Age of Sigmar, they've shown that the mechanic of damage spilling over works. So we know that the mechanic works. Mind you, Age of Sigmar. The reason why I think it's more important in 40k, Age of Sigmar is a game that is heavily revolved around melee because it's Age of Sigmar. 40k...
And infantry, very heavily around infantry.
Yeah, 40k is a shooting game.
Yeah.
I love melee armies. I love my World Eaters. I like melee stuff. But 40k is a shooting game. And I think one of the ways where you could pick melee armies up and make them better is that multi-damage weapons spill over in combat.
Yeah.
I think that gives you some semblance of balance back, because with the Overwatch mechanic, and so you can shoot in your shooting phase and you can Overwatch in the Overwatch phase, and you've got Tau Overwatch and all kind, and Flamers auto hitting. Combat armies, having played my Eternal Slaughter now for a year, combat armies have it hard.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, your berserkers are one of the best, units in the game for melee anyway, because 100%. They get to hit twice. All those attacks and extra strength and all the rest of it. Yeah. You can buff them to high heaven, but melee is supposed to be high risk, high reward. The risk being, will you get in?
Which
and
I'm
the reward being, you should be devastating. So I think it is hard to get in, but they're probably not as devastating as...
Berserkers fit that description perfectly. It's high risk because power armor still pants.
Yeah.
So it's high risk, and with Berserkers, it is inevitably, normally, if you play your cards right, you have the right characters, the right stratagems, it is high reward.
Yeah.
A squad of 10 Berserkers for me with a Power Fist in have often pulled down a Knight in one round of combat. So it is definitely high reward.
Oh yeah.
Some of the other melee-focused units, like Sword and Board Wraith Knights, Wraith Guard, for example, with Axe and Shield, they are not high reward.
No.
They're not bad. No, they are bad. No, they're pretty pants.
Are they? I don't know. Oh, well, anyway, I don't need to go into that in massive detail. I'll take your word for it. But
no, yeah.
In general, melee. I mean, the thing is, I think Berserkers aren't a particularly good example because they are one of the strongest combat units in the game.
Chris has said, we're talking about melee and Overwatch, so I'm going to quickly jump into a comment here.
Yeah.
Would have loved the Flamer Overwatch range issue to have been sorted. Biggest nonsense ever that it doesn't form a wall of fire. What I'm assuming what he means is, I'm going to ask him to clarify, is that if you charge from outside of 9 inches...
You can't get flamed.
That's rubbish.
Yeah, it is crap, you're right. Flamers in general haven't really been thought out, have they? Because maybe they can't Overwatch, but they can take down flyers.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
you know,
if you're 9.1 inches away from me, I can't flame you. Yeah. But if you're 40 feet in the sky, I definitely can.
Well, you say that. I think the what are they called? The I'm looking through the list. The flamers, pyrovores. That's it. Pyrovores, 10-inch flame spurt can.
Yeah. So Elder Warp Hunters, 12-inch auto hit and flamer like that. But that for me, that's nonsense. But then again, I think that there's another AOS mechanic here. So I did a lot of AOS rules reading about a month or so ago, because I think it's something that in the future I'll probably dip my toe into. Yeah. But future, not anytime soon, because I've got enough going on. So I'm not going to commit to AOS.
And then some.
Yeah, but another mechanic they've got is where if you roll your charge range in AOS and you fail your charge, you can still move your models up to that distance.
And you can do exactly the same thing in Kill Team. But then you move or charge in Kill Team.
Yeah, whereas AOS you move like 40k and then you declare a charge.
Your charge
I think you declare a charge. So this is what I like. If I remember rightly, now people who play AOS may scream at me because I don't know if I'm remembering rightly or not. I think in AOS you move and declare a charge at the same time as moving, and then you don't get to shoot because you've declared your charge. Sure. Right? I'm okay with that in 40k. I'm okay with moving my Berserker 6 inches. And then declaring a charge for 2d6 and getting that movement no matter what. You have to be within charge range still to charge. Right? So if I'm within 12 inches of the enemy and I declare a charge and I roll a 2 and a 3 and I get 5 inches, I should be able to get that 5-inch move. Because why is a band of raging berserkers screaming with their chainsaws and pistols towards the enemy, charge! And then, we can't quite make it, so we'll go nowhere.
I know. It's strange, isn't it? It is a strange thing. I completely agree with you. It doesn't really make great sense.
But the other thing is, if you're saying that if you're within 12 inches, you can declare a charge and you'll get to move that distance anyway, then you can at the same time legitimately say, and flamers will always be able to fire an Overwatch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose so, because that's the thing with the Overwatch, isn't it? Because you Overwatch before you roll for charge.
The other option is to say, that's the other option, is to say, right, you can move, and then you either shoot or declare a charge.
Yeah.
So I'm now talking like 9th edition because this is a big change. I get
Everyone's already talking about 9th
I get
edition.
that this is a big change.
We're in 8.1 at the moment, aren't we?
This is where I want it, and I don't think this would hurt shooting armies. This is where I want it, and I'm aware that this is just my opinion, guys. So this is not the views of Games Workshop or Mike. This is just what I think.
Yeah.
Move your models in the movement phase. When it hits the next phase, you can shoot or declare a charge, which stops stupid units that can blast away at your enemy and then charge them. So you shoot, declare a charge. If you declare a charge, you can move the distance, whatever it is. Then you measure range for Overwatch. So what I see is, thematically in my head, unit of Berserkers comes roaring across battlefield. You're stood there as a squad of normal Space Marines, for argument's sake, with a big heavy flamer. I declare my charge and scream, charge, and come at you. I roll a 4 and a 5, which is 9. I'm in charge range. By the time I hit your lines, you go, well, you're in range of my flamer, I can hit you with my flamer. I roll a 1 and a 1, I charge and only get 2 inches. You open up with your flamer and your flames tickle the front of my face because it's only got, it hasn't got an indefinite range.
Yeah, I suppose the thing is, like, flamers not hitting on Overwatch is janky, but then if you fail the charge and you're 9 inches away,
simply measure the range once the charge move's complete. Fix the whole issue. Because, and it works for me, that also works for things like rapid fire weapons. So if you've got an 18-inch weapon that's rapid fire at 9 and you're 9.1 inches away, they don't rapid fire. But you're running into a wall of bullets, and if you're going to make that charge, if you roll the dice to say that I have made base to base with the enemy, you are going to be at some point during you running at them in rapid fire range.
Yeah, totally.
So let them rapid fire.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about this from a combat army perspective.
I know.
Saying let them do it because it makes more sense.
Yeah.
But let me move the distance wherever I roll. Because failing a charge with 2d6 for your Khorne Berserkers and saying they move nowhere for me is ridiculous.
Well, they all tripped over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. And it also improves things like deep striking Terminators. So deep striking Terminators drop in 9 inches away from the enemy. They then declare a charge and fail. They stay exactly where they are. So you're now 9 inches away, 9.1 inches away from the enemy.
Yeah.
Enemy's next turn, they fuck off in a different direction. So I'm off. Your Terminators, most of them move 4 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
You're just not going to catch them at that point.
No,
you just can't. Because your infantry that you're chasing are 6, 7, 8 inch movers. You're just never going to catch them. So you drop in, declare my charge, move my 5 inches maybe that I get, or 6 inches that I get because I haven't rolled big enough. I'm then 3 inches away from you and you move 6 inches away. I then move another 5 inches. I'm only 4 or 5 inches away from charge. Terminators become more effective.
Yeah.
So just by that simple change.
Well, you say, so that simple change, makes Terminators more effective, but then how does it affect other things as well? So there's potential knock-on and balancing issues off the back of that as well. So you have to look at rerunning that scenario with every melee unit in the game, and then, they'll find some other cheese that when it gets within. I don't know, like, is there some, are there Nurgle units, for example, that have like an aura ability, like Cloud of Flies or something like that affects people, dishes out mortal wounds if you're within 2 inches or something like that. So there's a lot to consider the ramifications through something like that. Not disagreeing with you, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea, but...
Oh God, I haven't kept up with the chat now.
Just dialing it back a little bit there.
Yeah. Okay, so Rob Not Steve has said, I always see that rolled charge isn't used for movement because the charging unit is beaten back by firepower. It also stops units charging insane charges for free movement. I get it. I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm saying measure the range of firepower after. So you move your unit, say 5 inches, and you bring them in rapid fire range, your enemy's going to get a lot more rolls to hit.
Yeah.
There's other stuff that has been suggested, and I don't know if I like it. So one of the things that was suggested was that we've gone so far away from chapter approved. One of the things that was suggested was that...
I'm going to drag it back in a minute.
Yeah, it was that you, rather than firing in your shooting phase, you could instead put your unit into Overwatch and get better to hit rolls in Overwatch. And
it's getting complicated.
Why would you do it? Why would you do it? Why would you forego a turn of full ballistic skill firing to maybe get +1 in Overwatch? Yeah. So say you're Space Marines, for argument's sake, hit on 3s. So you've got a shooting phase hit on 3s, Overwatch hit on 6s. Or you can put yourself in Overwatch and hit on 5s. Why would you do that? You're going to hit on 3s then 6s. It's easier. You get more shots and you get more attempts, more chances to hit. Yeah. Anyway,
that's a bit of kill team type mechanic, though, isn't it? Something similar to that. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, yes, as you say, we digress massively. As per the norm.
Yeah. So I mean, we're now 37 minutes in and we've barely touched chapter approved.
So these guys can continue chatting about stuff in the podcast channel. So one of the things we're going to talk about was chapter approved. There's a lot of points changes.
There's a lot of points changes.
Should we just sort of pick out some points changes that we think are relevant, that will make a difference? And
so we started with the Shining Spears that have gone up, which is good. Wave Serpents have gone up.
Yeah,
I don't think it's enough to stop us from seeing them everywhere.
Probably not, but it's fine that we see them everywhere.
Because they're just very, very good for what they are.
Yeah, it's fine that we see them everywhere.
There's some interesting Forge Arc changes as well. Once we're talking Eldar,
the
Eldar Warp Hunter.
Yeah, I know, you're getting a bit excited about this, aren't you?
I have one that has been provided to us by Rob Not Steve with Those That Whisper. I haven't used it yet, but I can see its potential.
Boy, are you looking forward to it now?
I cannot believe how cheap they've made that.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think that's game-breakingly cheap.
Is that like sub 200 points now?
It's 177 points now, kitted out.
Is it?
So with its main weapon, which is either a D6 auto-hitting strength 10 AP -4 D6 damage flamer at 12 inches, or a 36-inch range D6 shot strength 10 AP -4 D6 damage, doesn't need line of sight range weapon.
It's D3, I think, is D3 shots.
It's D3, unless you hit a target more than 5 models and it becomes 2D3.
2D3, correct, yes.
That thing's now 177 points.
How big is it physically?
It's the same size as a Wave Serpent.
Yeah, so you can hide it quite easily.
But not only that, you can Cloud Strike it.
Yeah, so you can spend flame range.
You can spend a single command point to put it in Cloud Strike. You can drop it 9 inches away and then auto D6 your anti-tank weapon. Yeah. And the thing is, with Cloud Strike doesn't suffer the same limitation as Web-Based Strike. So Web-Based Strike, single command point for one unit, infantry unit, or 3 command points for 2.
Yeah.
Use it once per battle. Cloud Strike, single command point, anything with a fly keyword, in Deep Strike.
Yeah.
Use it as many times as you want.
That's used prior to the start of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use it as many times as you want. So you take 3 of them, because rule of 3, you can put all 3 in Cloud Strike.
So here there's a few more bits for you there on that. So 3 for less than 550, says Rob Not Steve, on the Warp Hunter, and degradation doesn't hurt it. So is it 9 wounds then, is it?
I don't know. He'll know. Hang on, I'll tell you what I can do. If you're watching the chat, I can bring up the actual...
only 43 quid each from Forge World 2, which is pretty cheap.
It's very cheap for a Forge World model.
Oh, because it's auto-hitting, of course. Yeah. There's no degradation, because it's auto-hitting.
Oh, of course.
On the close-range Flamer style one. On the 36-inch range one, the heavy D3, that's...
Imperial Armour Forces of Xenos. This is going to open on the Warp Hunter page. So it does degrade. It's a standard tank.
Just not on the Flamer.
It's toughness 7. Yeah, of course. It's toughness 7, 12 wounds, 3 up save. You can take War Gear from the Eldar Vehicles War Gear list. You can take Spirit Stones for 6 up saves and stuff.
Can you give it the Serpent Shield, or is that a Wave Serpent only?
Yeah, Serpent only. 16-inch move. It's got a hover tank type profile, that kind of normal stuff. But here we are, the D Flail. That's what it's called. So strength 10, AP -4, D6 damage. It auto hits its target if it's using the Flamer profile. It's D3 if it's not, but it doesn't need line of sight. And if it's 10 or more models, not 5 or more, increase the number of hit rolled to 2D3. Yeah. They're insanely good.
Yeah, I think against I think the Flamer is far better than the ranged one. We
worked out in the No Retreat WhatsApp group that 3 Elatok Hemlocks and 3 Elatok Warp Hunters are 1150 points.
Yeah.
So that gives you 600 points to sprinkle on characters and troops, and then troll all the way to the final.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I'm not using Eldar in my tournament list, because it's just...
Because no one will like you.
Because I won't have any friends.
So ornery. Yeah, so that's a good points drop there. Interesting, yes.
I don't know why that's happened. There's another one, the Taunar.
That's really cheap now.
That's dropped massively.
Well, that was something crazy like 700 points or something, wasn't it?
No, I think they put it up to 1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's dropped to 750.
Oh, that's what it is.
And they did the same with the that's the Forge World Order Change. That got spanked up to 1,500, and it stayed there.
Yeah.
But the Taunar has come down.
It was wank though. That's why, because it's just rubbish.
But I think it's exceptional at 750 points.
Well, yeah, this is it. I mean, you wouldn't do it, would you?
So an army that Rob, not Steve's going to paint for us soon, the Necrons, because we've stayed away from Necron Watch for a month, so I can calm down.
You get one of those spider jobs. Yeah. The big things, are you going to get one of the big spiders from Forge?
So I think what will happen is Rob will get bored of his army and sell me that one. Rob's going to be painting the Necron soon. That's why Winters has told him to paint them in the same colour scheme. So when you get bored and sell your army, we can have it.
It's a crab with attitude, indeed.
Winters told him to paint it the same, just because of reasons. But the Necron's got lots of points drops.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of points drops. Which is really
good. And the question was raised, and not in the Discord chat, the question was raised, but I've seen it and heard it raised elsewhere as well. Are they now going to be competitive? They've seen the points drops that you and I have discussed many times.
Yeah.
Are the points drops big enough? Are they now competitive? More competitive?
Having had a glance and a skim through, and it's just a skim through. So we'll give a better in 2 weeks' time, when I've had chapter improved in hand for a week. We'll do another one of these with a bit more in-depth, proper analysis about some of the units and armies that we play, because I know you've already written in your Tyrannus points and stuff. Necrons have got some stronger builds, much stronger builds. Whether they are competitive when you look at what they're competing against, no.
Yeah.
So if you're talking friendly-ish, chilled-out-ish tournaments, I think they'll stand a good chance. You're talking battle reports on YouTube that are balanced against tougher lists, they stand a good chance. You're talking Heat 3 GW, LGT, LVO, Nova, not a chance. Not when you look at the Aldari soup lists. When you look at some of the stuff that Thousand Suns can kick out with Zinch Demons, when you look at some of the lists that are currently doing well, not a chance still for me. Yeah. They're better, much better. The problem is,
and I think that's probably fine
for now.
For now, isn't it?
As long as they keep going down that road.
You don't want to just keep making. Okay, so that was crap. Now it's the new thing, and it's amazing.
Saying
and everyone
that,
takes it.
I think they may have done that exact thing with Tau.
With Tau, because of the crisis suits drops.
So Tau were an average to good army.
Yeah.
Okay, they weren't poor.
No,
they weren't terrible. They were average to good. Certain builds of Tau were very, very strong.
Yeah.
Mostly the Tau Sept. Tau Sept was strong.
Yeah.
Tau Sept is the most common tournament build.
Yeah.
Apart from perhaps, well, it's the most common. The next being Borkan, purely because of Wyvaras.
This is the Whitehards.
Yeah. Tau have had some epic points drops.
Yeah, and Rob, not Steve, just point one out there, broadsides, yeah. So broadsides went down from 60 points to 35.
Yeah, there was a guy in, I can't find the message now, there was a guy in the No Retreat chat who had worked out he could take 9 broadsides,
yeah,
and I think Commander Shadowsun or something, for about 1,000 points.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If that, or 9 units of 3 broadsides, I can't remember what the fuck, I can't remember what it was. It was a lot of broadsides.
I don't think there are any point increases in the Tau Codex that I've seen.
No.
They are all drops, and there are a lot of them.
A lot of people that I've spoke to have saved somewhere in the region of between 150 to 300 points.
Yeah.
And that's massive, right? That's a huge chunk of extra you're getting.
Yeah, it really is.
When you're talking about an army that relies on weight of fire anyway, and has been very good with its weight of fire, gaining 300 points of more models is insanely good.
Yeah.
I don't, by any chance, think that they're going to be absolutely turbo broken against, again, things like Alatok, Aldari soup lists. They will still be on top.
Yeah.
They will still be on top. But the sheer weight of fire that Tau can bring now, they could bring decent weight of fire anyway. And what they've done is they've brought a lot of the big expensive units down as well. Crisis suits, one of the most iconic Tau units we've ever seen.
So crisis suits were 42 points, they're now down to 27.
Yeah.
Obviously that's without any war gear or drones or anything.
Massive, that's 15 point drop per suit.
Yeah, that's it. It's dropped by a third.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's incredible. So you're basically getting a crisis suit for free. Thereabouts. I think we'll see more of them now, which is good because they're crisis suits and it's Tau.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, there have been drops across the board, but things that were, I mean, there's no drop in points for Riptides, although, some of their weapons actually. No, I don't think any of the
Richie's asked why as
weapons. Why have they? That's what I was sort of responding to.
He said why Tau are decent. Tau are decent. That's a fact.
Yeah.
They have been decent for a while. What Tau suffers with massively in the competitive scene, which people like Eldar, Drakari, Space Marines, Imperial Guard, Knights don't suffer with, is they have no allies. So you cannot soup it with Tau. They rely 100% on their own codex.
Yeah.
So although their codex, this is the thing that does get to me a little bit, as a mono build, their codex compared to mono build Eldar or mono build Drakari or mono build Guard is probably now about right, if not a little bit better.
It's probably now very competitive in a mono build world.
But compare it against the soup that they can bring, maybe not so much.
And they don't have the buffs from Psychic and stuff. Their Mortal Wound output still isn't particularly great.
No,
so, I mean, the thing is that a lot of the points drops that you see here are to things that weren't really taken.
Have Fire Warriors dropped at all?
Nope.
See, Fire Warriors for Tau really are the sweet spot.
Definitely.
It sounds, people will laugh at me. Tau players in the chat, people like Noel will probably laugh at me. Fire Warriors are the sweet spot, and I'll explain why.
Yeah, completely.
They're cheap as hell.
Yeah.
Absolute cheap as hell, and they have a base strength 5 weapon. In a meta where you have toughness 8, 3 up vulnerable knights everywhere, to get to the high strength where you hurt a knight, you pay a tax for big AP.
Yeah.
Okay, so last cannons, melter guns, etc. You pay a tax because they're AP -3, AP -4, AP -5.
Yeah.
Fire Warriors Pulse Rivals at strength 5 don't have a big AP because they have none. So they don't suffer the big points tax, so they're cheap.
Yeah.
But what they are is they're strength 5, which means they wound knights on 5s.
Yeah.
So a guy called Tank, who I went to No Retreat 7 with, who was at Heat 3 today, took 90 Fire Warriors and obliterated stuff.
Yeah.
Obliterated stuff.
That is a lot of high quality shooting. I mean, they're only hitting on 4s, but even so, and the Overwatch obviously is
stack a load of Mark Lights.
Yeah. Rerolling ones.
Yeah, rerolling ones, adding +1 to hit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the way that Marker Lights work now, you don't buff a single Fire Warrior unit. You basically put the Marker Lights on that unit, and anytime it shoots at it, gets a benefit.
So you posted a picture that you saw of a battle in Heat 3, and it was...
Tank took on Zeech Demons and Thousand Suns.
Yeah.
And the guy had Magnus and a Lord of Change, plus a load of extra stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he did for a turn.
Yeah.
And then the Fire Warriors opened up.
Yeah.
And you no longer had Magnus or the Lord of Change.
Melted everything. Yeah. That's the thing. This is very much a game where weight of dice is king. Yeah. I mean, you can roll loads of dice. Then you're going to make your opponent roll lots of saves, and they're going to fail lots of saves. Yeah. And all the rest of it. So. And
that's exactly how my berserkers work.
Yeah, totally.
It's weight of dice. It's the same as Tau Fire Warriors with pulse rifles.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why his Tau Fire Warriors were probably doing a better job this weekend of deleting Magnus, Lord of Change, Knights, in fact, because he did, etc., than probably Melter squads of something or other, or you know what I mean. What you would probably consider dedicated anti-tank is doing worse against armour than infantry with strength 5 weapons, because it's cheap as hell, and it's a sweet spot for wounding that sort of toughness.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. And
that was a player, Richie. He says Tau was shite at no surrender.
Who even played Tau?
That was the Claw. That is entirely his leadership rather than anything else.
I think one of the things that is in terms of points drops, then, so the crisis suits, the broadside suits, they've both gone down quite dramatically. Overall, the broadsides particularly, but they weren't really seen very much in competitive play because they were deemed to be too expensive. Now they're not. Now we'll see them. They've also dropped Devilfishes by 10 points. I don't think it makes any difference.
What about Piranhas?
Yeah, Piranhas have dropped by 8 points, I think it is, so they're 30 points each.
They're quite good for 30 points.
Yeah.
Because they're nippy and they're fast and what have you.
Yeah, good for grabbing objectives. I mean, 8 points, I suppose it's sort of nearly 20% drop, I guess. But,
I think Tau
significant.
Have benefited, probably have had some of the best benefits from Chapter Proof.
So Shadow Sun, you mentioned earlier, someone was playing Shadow Sun, that's dropped from 167 down to 110.
That's a big change.
57
it's
point
almost
drop.
Like
that's including all wardrobe.
It's almost
gear,
like,
but not drones.
It's almost like Trajan Valorous.
Yeah.
It's gone from 250 down to like 170 or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a massive drop. Anyway,
he's a beast.
We're going to come back with some more points changes and chapter proof stuff in a minute, because I'm about to go and make us more tea.
Wonderful.
We've been going for nearly an hour, and I've only had one cup of tea, and that is quite frankly sacrilege. So we'll be right back very shortly. Right, I've supplied Mike for tea, so we could probably go for another half an hour or so now.
Or maybe.
I'm not going to kick the arse out of it too much, because it's a Sunday night and I've got to do the school run in the morning and then edit a bucket load of stuff.
I've got to be at work.
Yeah, well, you've got work as well.
Yeah.
It's health and safety, right? It manages itself in construction, surely.
Drug and alcohol testing.
So Richie's off to Japan, thank God.
That doesn't mean it'll be any quieter on Discord.
We're talking points changes. We've covered some generic stuff, which has been quite interesting. So I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically.
Yeah.
The army that I'm currently putting together, that I'm getting ready for next year, because I want it to be my main army for next year if I can help it, is the Thousand Sons. And actually, power armoured stuff across the board has done relatively well out of chapter approved. I've had a look at some of the points changes for my Eternal Slaughter. Marines have gone down a couple of points. Mauler Fiends have taken a saving.
It couldn't very well have been made any worse, could it?
The Slaughter aren't that bad, right?
I mean power armour, sorry. To be frank.
The Slaughter aren't that bad. They do suffer and they do struggle. And they're a hard army to play. But they're not that bad. But that's because they're a specialised power armoured unit. So tactical Marines are crap.
Yes.
Point blank.
Yes, they are.
Okay. And they're now made...
obsolete.
In my honest opinion, they've been made ever so slightly worse by chapter approved. Because Primaris Intercessors had another points drop, and have been given the option to equip their sergeants with power fists.
Yeah.
Because they've changed the data sheet in the back of chapter approved for Intercessors.
Even less reason to take TAC Marines.
Yeah. So not great. However, the Eternal Slaughter have got a big point saving on Mauler Fiends. There's point savings on the Helldrake. So they've done okay out of it. So I'm okay with that. It's
Rhinos, I think, have gone down as well.
I think Rhinos have got shaved some points off as well. So they've done very well. My Thousand Sons list. So I wrote what I would call competitive Thousand Sons list. Now I expect, in chapter approved, I expect most competitive lists to not see a huge difference. Okay, so I'd expect most optimised lists to maybe save 30, 40, 50 points max. Some of the Eldar builds have probably gone up in points.
I completely agree with you there. And I think that's a good move.
Because I think optimised lists are optimised for a reason. So what you're doing by point shifting other stuff is you're making more stuff viable and therefore increasing the scope of things you'll see at events. And that's 100% the right thing to do.
Completely agree.
My Thousand Sons, who I thought were optimised, I gained 100 points.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You can get some Zangles in there with that.
I'm not.
I know.
But in fact, what I've done by taking that 100 points is drop the only Zangar I was fielded. But they're going to get fielded for battle reports and for narrative stuff.
Oh yeah.
But not for the tournament list if I can help it.
Okay.
So I gained 100 points. The big winners, the big 2 point savers for me were that they're definitely not optimised list, but still could do some work. Unit, which was Rubric Marines with Warp Flamers.
Yeah,
Previously, I think they were 18 points, and the Warp Flamer was 15 points, so they're 33 points a model.
Wow.
They're now 16 points, and the Warp Flamer's dropped to 10.
That's how many? So give me some stats on Rubrics then. How many wounds they got?
So Rubric's a single wound Marine.
2+ armor save.
Nope, 3+ armor save, 5+ invulnerable save, but they have a rule called All is Dust.
Yeah.
All is Dust is +1 to your saving throw, armor or invulnerable, if you're targeted by a weapon that's single damage. Okay, so they're 2 up armor, 4+ invulnerable against anything that's single damage. They have a sergeant who isn't a sergeant, he's an aspiring sorcerer, so he has a smite, but it's reduced to single mortal wounds, and a 4 stave. They have Inferno bolt guns, which are strength 4, AP -2, rapid fire. So bolt gun, but AP -2. What they can do is they can exchange their bolt gun at 2 points, as it was, I think, and they could exchange it for a 15-point warp flamer, which is assault D6, 9-inch range, obviously flamer. Assault D6, strength 4, AP -2, and single damage. That was 15 points. It's gone down to 2. So you pay an extra 8 points now, essentially, for a warp flamer, which is a strength 4 AP -2 warp flamer.
Yeah.
And you can do that with Rubric Marines for any model in the squad. So I built a squad of when Orcs dropped, I put a squad of 9 Rubrics in with 8 warp flamers straight away. You want to charge me, eat that.
How? So what's the points cost on that?
So the point saving on it was absolutely insane. I saved 40 points per flamers, plus another 16 points from the Rubrics. So I saved 56 points off the bat just on that one squad. That's huge.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
a whole extra
absolutely.
squad of cultists.
Yeah.
I will note that when I did this point saving of 100 points, that's because I'd already pointed my cultists at 5 points.
It's only 11 cultists now, isn't it?
No, they're up to squads of 15.
Yeah, but you can only afford 11 now. Because they're 5 now, aren't they? 5
Yeah. So they're now 5. So I originally pointed them at 5 points on purpose. I had 2 squads of 13. They're now up to 15. Because the other saving, which I think is insane, was on one of my Forge World units. So one of the things I've dropped in the list is a Forge World Leviathan Dreadnought, because they're just cool, and I think that
they're everywhere.
I think that power armored armies, I think they need Forge World on the whole as mono builds to be competitive. I'll stand by that statement, genuinely. Same conversation I had with Pardo, same conversation I had with a couple of our tournament organisers who accept Forge World and say that to run power armour in any form of tournament and be competitive, you need Forge World assistance. And if you look at a lot of the power armoured armies that do well as a mono faction, and they don't win events, as a mono faction, they tend to include things like Leviathans.
Yeah.
Now a Leviathan is
they still don't do well.
No, they don't. It helps them. It helps them compete, but they don't tend to win anything. So it's not. It doesn't overpower them. No. A Leviathan still is a big point sink.
Yeah.
So for a loyalist Leviathan, it's still 310 points for what is considered the optimized loadout, which is dual storm cannons.
It's not far off a knight, is it?
Exactly. It's 15 points cheaper than a Knight Gallant. It's only 14 wounds.
Yeah.
It does have a 2-up save. It does have a standard. The Loyalist one has a standard 4-up invulnerable save. But 310 points for dual storm cannons. It does hit on 2s, but it degrades obviously. Yeah. And dual storm cannons for the guys that don't know, a single storm cannon is 10 shots, strength 7, AP minus 2,
it's
2 damage.
Cannons, isn't it?
Yeah, AP minus 2 damage.
It's just like all the auto cannons.
So dual storm cannons on a Leviathan for the Imperial is 310 points. Apart from it's not, because it's a relic Leviathan. And the relic rules in the Forge World Index state that to take a relic of something, you have to have already filled a slot of the same type. So you can only take a relic Leviathan Dreadnought as a heavy support choice in a Space Marine army if you've already picked a heavy support choice in that same detachment. So you have to have a heavy support.
So you can't have 3 in one detachment. Well, you could. You have to have 4th heaviest. Yeah, okay, fine.
It's dirty.
So there's a tax that goes with it.
So, for example, Mikey, who's from Hellstorm Wargaming, if you haven't seen or heard of Hellstorm, go and check them out on YouTube. They've got a website as well. A big shout out to Mikey, he's in our Discord too. So Mikey from Hellstorm, he runs 2 Leviathans in his Blood Ravens. But to do that, he has to take 2 other
they're Ultramarines, aren't they?
No, they're whatever he decides that he wants them to be at the time.
Ah, right, that's what it is.
So strictly the descendants of Thousand Sons is what I keep telling him.
That's it.
So he runs 2 Leviathans in his list with 2 Storm Cannons, which is 620 points. Massive point sinks in a 1750 point list.
Yeah.
Apart from he also runs 2 Rapier batteries from Forge World.
Yeah.
Because he has to have a heavy support choice to be able to run Relic.
So you can't run 2 Leviathans and then say they are each other's. They actually have to have
they have to have their own heavy support choice.
Yeah.
So when you think that a Rapier battery, I mean, Rapier batteries are good, don't get me wrong. Rapier batteries are 70 something points.
Don't need line of sight, do they?
So to run a Leviathan, you're sinking 400 points in an Imperial list. The bonus of Hellforged Leviathans is you don't have that tax.
Yeah, okay.
But they were more expensive. Notice how I went from are to were? They were 329 points for dual Butcher Cannons. Butcher Cannons aren't the same as Storm Cannons. Butcher Cannons are strength 8 instead of strength 7. 8 shots instead of 10 shots. 36-inch range instead of 24-inch range. AP minus 1 instead of AP minus 2. 2 damage. Okay, so they have better strength, worse AP, better range. Less shots. So they're kind of balanced. I think they're thereabouts, but no tax. Butcher Cannons were 60 points a pop. They're now 40 points a pop.
Yeah. For a pair or for one?
So for one was 60. It's now 40. So my Leviathan that had dual Butcher Cannons has just saved 40 points.
Yeah.
Off the bat.
Yeah.
And it was already a unit that was seen all the time.
Yeah.
So don't know what they've done that.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the Grav Flux Bombard, which was the weapon that was considered the strongest competition for the Butcher Cannon.
That's the thing that looks like a Coke can.
Kind of big round thingy.
Yeah.
So that's a D3 weapon at 24 inch. I can't remember the range. Doesn't matter. Strength is good. Strength 10, AP minus 4, D6 damage or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
But for every additional 5 models in the squad that you fire at, you get an additional D3 shots. So 30 Orc Boys, it's 6 D3 shots from one Grav Flux Bombard.
Oh, wow.
It's AP minus 2, 2 damage. AP minus 5, 2 damage, sorry. If it hits anything that's monster vehicle or knights, it becomes a flat 5 damage. So yeah, against 30 Orcs with 2 Grav Flux Bombards, you fight everything. You've got 12 D3 shots at strength 10 AP minus 5, 2 damage.
Oh, that's quite a lot, isn't it?
So they were considered competitive with Butcher Cannons. They've stayed at 65 points apiece. So now, and you saw Butcher Cannons anyway, now you'll see them even more. Yeah. Because they're just better. So my Thousand Sons list, that gained 100 points.
How many of those you got?
What?
Hellforged Leviathans?
One.
Just one?
Just one. Just one. I'm not going to...
Not going super cheese.
I'm not... Well, I have. I have, because there's also 2 Decimators in there.
Yeah.
Funny old thing, they didn't drop in points.
Yeah.
Because they're very good.
Well, we're not going to them, because they're not relevant to what we're talking about.
No. No, but there's Sicarian that's just now joined the list.
Sicarian, yeah.
Sicarian that's just joined the list, that's dropped in points.
Yeah.
So that's now 150 points base instead of 170 points base.
Yeah.
So with my saving, I managed to drop my Zangor Shaman, because it's a Zangor, put in the Sicarian and buff up my cultists. So, I mean, I'm happy all round.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier.
Good. I'm delighted for you.
Have you pointed up your Tyranid list yet?
No, I haven't, no, because I did all my lists on Battlescribe.
Right, okay.
I've just scribbled them in the book this morning so I can start going through it, but I'm kind of sort of secretly waiting for Battlescribe to be updated now.
There's a massive, for me, there's the biggest change in...
For the NIDs? There's 2, it's a Broodlord, yeah.
Broodlord's my biggest change.
So it's gone from 162 down to 115, which is great, because 162 is a bit expensive, it was, but he was very good.
And you saw him everywhere anyway.
Serious wrecking ball. Yeah, I mean, not so much in the competitive tournament lists.
I think you might do now.
I think you probably will do now. Yeah. And he's not a specific character trying to think of the word. He's just an HQ choice.
Yeah.
So you can run multiples.
He's not unique.
You're not unique, that's it. So that's a big points drop. The other thing to do with HQs for NIDs is the Neurothrope, which you see everywhere, has gone from 70 points up to 90.
I think we probably all saw that coming.
Yeah. That's fine. You're still going to see them everywhere. They're still great at that price.
They're still floating characters with a throw up and vulnerable save, right?
Indeed, yes.
So they're very good.
Yeah, and they do 2 psychics a turn.
Yeah,
as well, too.
really good units.
So they only have they have smite and 1 psychic power, but they can cast 2 a turn. So if you give them psychic scream, then basically they can chuck out 2 smites a turn.
I still think they're the core of NID HQs, even at 90 points.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing that's HQ thing is that Tyranid Primes, which are basically Tyranid Warriors, a bit beefier.
Yeah.
They were 100 points. They have now gone down to 70 points.
But what about old Swarmy?
Though. Well, yeah, Swarmy's gone from 300 down to 250, so 50 points off for him, and he is a beast. Yeah, there are very few things that can go toe to toe with Swarmlord. I
played Steve, not Rob, and I took a Bloodthirster Insensate Rage against the Swarmlord and lost.
Got absolutely
so they've done really well. I think Nids have done averagely okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, overall.
The Exocrine point drop surprised me.
Yeah, that did surprise me as well. It's quite a hefty one, from 216 down to 170.
Yeah.
So that is a pretty decent drop there. Another 46 points. Hive Tyrant with Wings, Flyrants have gone up 20 points.
Again, I'm not surprised.
Not a big surprise, no. But it's a bit of a shame for me because I've got 2 of them.
So the other big points, the other big army that I think has benefited from points changes. So you say you think Tau's the winner.
I think so, yeah.
I don't. I think there are 2 biggest winners, Tau being one of them, but I think the biggest winner for me is Astra Militarum. You're talking 40, I think I counted 48 points changes in the Astra Militarum Codex. 3 of them were up, the rest were down.
Yeah.
So the Shadow Sword gained 20 points. I'm not surprised.
Big deal though,
because
really.
You see
20 points.
If you see Mono Guard who take a super heavy, they take a Shadow Sword.
Yeah.
There is a couple of others. So I think there's something else that went up about 6 points, and another thing that went up a couple of points. Tank Commanders came down 25 points a model.
Really? Wow.
And they were already very popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a tank that can order itself and fills a HQ slot, they were already insanely popular. Yeah, across the board, like I say, about 55, 56 points drops.
Yeah.
And the biggest surprise, genuinely to me, and I didn't want it to happen because I like Guardsmen, but the biggest surprise is that Guardsmen have stayed at 4 points.
Yeah, which is a kind of... which is a sort of a negative for cultists, isn't it? So cultists have gone up a point, Guardsmen haven't.
Well, the other thing is, not just that, not just have Guardsmen not gone up a point and cultists have, but then you look at Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum veterans who have now come down a point, so veterans are now 5 points. So veterans are now point for point the same as cultists. They can benefit from orders, they have better weapon options, they have a better ballistic skill, they've got a better armour save, and they're the same points as cultists.
Yeah.
Now, that, if anything, ever proves they respond to spam in tournaments, that is it, right?
Yeah,
Cultists going up and Guardsmen not. Guardsmen were spammed to the point where you saw the Guard battalion everywhere.
The Loyal 32.
But you saw 30 Guardsmen, which is the bare minimum. So they weren't spammed in that sense.
No, cultists, they were just taken as attacks.
Cultists, you see 120 cultist lists.
Oh, yeah.
So they were spammed, right?
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Definitely. And so, I mean, the cultists is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is probably the most competitive thing in the whole Chaos Space Marine Codex.
Yeah, I'd struggle to argue with that, I think.
Yeah.
Thinking about what's in that codex,
which is mad.
I think I'd struggle to argue with that.
You think about that narratively, that is crap.
Oh, I'm a Chaos player.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me.
I mean, it's just, silly.
But I mean, Jesse said it himself, that's because CSM are weak. They are suffering a little bit from First Codex syndrome, as I think regular Marines do as well.
Yeah.
The difference with regular Marines is they got all the new Primaris toys, okay? So although they're still not strong, they did get some decent, cool new options to play around with and experiment with and try new things with. Chaos Space Marines just didn't. And it still, to this day, I'll go as far as to say it still pisses me off that we see things like that horrific Marnius Calgar sculpt come out and Abaddon hasn't been touched for like 5 editions.
Oh, it's great for memes though, isn't it?
Oh my God.
I quite like it actually.
Who got out of bed in the morning and stretched up and went, this would be a cool pose for a Space Marine? It's
just the inexorable march to phasing out mini Marines, isn't it?
I have told.
It's the next step.
I have told Brom that that Marnius Calgor won't go on the channel unless he brings the old one.
There's no point running him though.
No, because
he's just a slightly poorer Bobby G. He's just not quite as good as Bobby G, but you know,
maybe narratively in narrative type battle reports.
Yeah, if you want
competitive lists. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, if you want to, then you know you want to run an Ultramarines narrative campaign. And it doesn't make sense to your narrative for Guilliman's been in it. Then fine, maybe run Calgar, but.
Yeah, and the model's shit. And the last model,
I quite like the model.
The last Calgar model in Terminator armour was better, in my opinion. Of course, as I say all the time, this is pure opinion based. Yeah. This is just my opinion and my view. I don't necessarily mean that because you own one it's shit. I just don't like it.
I don't mind it. I liked the previous one though, where he's sort of like charging into battle.
And that's the other big thing. Take Chaos out of the equation because I'm a big Chaos fan and a Chaos player. And I've got some news about Chaos that came direct from GW. Anyway, take them out of the equation and you look at sculpts like Azrael, Lysander. Give me some other ones. Cantor, who need new sculpts. And actually, if you look at the old Marnius, he probably didn't need one.
Ragnar Blackmane.
Ragnar, exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Ezekiel, Asmodai. All these characters who probably have got old lead or now fine cast shitty models who probably could do with a decent plastic mini.
Blackmane doesn't even have a fine cast resculpt. I mean, I think you probably can get him in fine cast. You must be able to. It's the same dog shit flat pose.
You can still buy models from GW for things like Astra Militarum, for example, Primaris Psyker, Astropaths, that you buy them from the GW website and they turn up metal.
They do still actually sell metal?
You can still buy metal models.
I didn't actually know that, okay.
You can still buy metal models from GW.
Interesting.
And Jesse's just said, but Liam, it's Ultra Smurfs. I think that's one of my biggest problems. If there was a Space Marine faction, take Chaos away from it. Take my Eldar Aspect Warriors who would love to see in plastics away from it. Take everything away from it, just go Space Marines and don't think anything else than Space Marines. Even then, I'm still pissed off because it's Ultramarines getting it again.
And, you know, Ultramarines are just like bland Marines. You know, they got like, for me personally, just don't really have any flavour.
I honestly think that's why they've done it. Because I think they are the one that appeals to the biggest market.
And I suppose if you do want to add trinkets and extras to make them look like another chapter, it's easy because they're not overtly one thing or another. You know, they're not like Blood Angels. They've got nipples everywhere. Or
the other thing is that
cows.
It's the only real army that anyone runs for pure Marines because Gulliman exists.
Well, the only ones with a decent chapter tactic.
And for a while, Raven Guard were popular, and then they kicked the shit out of their decent stratagem for some reason that we don't understand. I still think other sculpts have been nicer. Anyway, back to chapter approved. We've covered the datasheet changes. We've covered a lot of the point stuff that we can remember off the top of our heads. They've obviously got these new building mechanics in there for looted vehicles and characters. I think it's really cool. I think it'll be cool. So I think if we do narrative campaigns on the channel, custom characters will be amazing for that. I think that'd be good fun. But otherwise, you probably won't see it.
They're only narrative anyway.
Cities of Death. Cities of Death is awesome.
Yeah.
Did a bit of reading of Cities of Death. Couldn't read as much as I wanted to because there's loads of it. There's 3 pages of stratagems just for playing Cities of Death missions. You can set booby traps. It's awesomely good. Awesomely good. You've got some really cool mechanics. So, for example, you've got hardcover and softcover.
Yes.
So they tell you which type. So, like a barricade or a wall or something is softcover, and you get +1 to your save for being behind it. Being inside the middle of ruins is hardcover, I think, and you get +2 to your save.
Sure. Or it's
makes
like
it really good.
It's that whole thing again.
Makes it really good.
To work
6 is always hit. If you are a higher level than the model that you're shooting at, you get an additional -1 to your AP.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange choice, but it's a nice advantage to have from being high up.
Height is always an advantage in warfare, and now they've got a mechanic that shows that.
Yeah.
So I really like it. Yeah. I really like Cities of Death.
I thought the -1 AP is a bit of a strange thing. I mean, you think, I don't know, maybe range or increase the rapid fire range or something like that. But anyway. It's good. It's good they think about these sorts of things.
I think it denotes, so being in cover gives you +1 save or +2 save now in Cities of Death. I think what it denotes is having that aerial advantage to remove the protection of cover.
Yeah.
So I think when you think of it in that respect, I think it works.
In terms of game mechanic wise, yeah, it's pluses and minuses on the same thing.
Yes.
Although I find working out the pluses and the minuses at times.
+1, +1, -1, +1, +1, minus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like I don't know. Let's just roll it and see what happens.
Cities of Death is cool, and then the missions. There's 6 new missions. One of them's a bit far-fetched and strange. The other 5 are pretty decent. If I was to try and regurgitate the 6 missions to you guys now, I would murder it, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, one thing I would say though is I watched a bit of Tabletop Tactics rundown of the missions, and it seems what they do is they're trying to they're taking away the sudden death. Is it sudden death? Is that what it's called? Tabling. So tabling now will have less of an impact on the outcome. That's
what I was going to cover.
Yeah.
Winters and I spoke about this last Tuesday on the next DZHQ that's coming out, which will be out probably this Sunday coming. So it'll be out after this one's out.
Yeah.
For those of guys that are listening to this or watching this that don't know what DZHQ is, Winters and I have a website, deploymentzone.tv. And DZHQ is where him and I sit down together and chat crap for an hour. People seem to like it, so we're going to keep doing it. Anyway,
well, you say crap, but that's not what the people who watch it think.
No, we chat crap.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Anyway, we spoke about this in DZHQ. He wasn't sure if he liked it or not. I categorically love this new rule. So this new, the new rule basically. So current 40k, if you table your opponent, you win.
Yeah.
In tournaments, if you table your opponent, you normally get a major victory. You get max points, right?
Yeah, you get max points.
If you lose, you get a major loss. You get 0 points thereabouts.
Yeah. So it's, sometimes you get the points you accrued already, or something like that.
This removes that altogether. So at the moment, you've got curb stompy knight lists. Just for argument's sake, I'm not saying that these are game breaking or meta winning at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got curb stompy knight lists that come up against a squishy list. The squishy list can run around. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take confrontation as the prime example, actually, of my Eternal Slaughter.
Fine. Yeah.
So the Eternal Slaughter and confrontation, I played 5 games. All 5 games in turn 5, I was winning on points on VPs.
Yeah.
3 out of those 5 games, I got tabled in turn 5 or 6.
And lost as a result.
And lost as a result. If this new rule would have been in effect, I wouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
So it's an Age of Sigmar mechanic that exists currently. So if you get tabled in this game now, in these missions, you don't auto lose.
No.
So you then calculate the points the opponent would have scored in the remaining turns.
The game continues on without you in it.
Exactly.
So they can move in the next, say if they table you in turn 3, they get a turn 4, turn 5, roll to see if they get a turn 6 and 7.
Yeah.
To try and score
Catch
more
your points
up. Yeah.
So I reckon maybe 3 of those games that I lost. Definitely 2, maybe 3 of those games that I lost. With this new mechanic, I would have won minor victories, but wins nonetheless.
Yeah.
So I think for some armies, when you talk about the Slaughter, who aren't that competitive compared to Ynnari, Super, and all that kind of stuff, I think it's an awesome new rule.
Yeah.
I really, really like it. And the other thing that they've done, which is surprising, and then the more I thought about it, and I think we discussed it a little bit yesterday with Sorcerer Dave in the Discord, is they've changed the way that deployment and who goes first works again. So Chapter Proof 2017, all the Chapter Proof missions in there require you to roll off and add 1 if you had less drops.
Yeah.
Chapter Proof 2018 has removed that mechanic for these 6 missions, and you roll off, and the winner gets to choose whether they deploy first or second.
And they deploy all of them.
And they deploy everything.
Yeah.
And if they deploy first, they go first. Unless your opponent seizes initiative.
Yeah.
If they deploy second, they go second, unless they manage to seize the initiative. Now that's a mechanic that existed in 7th edition, 6th edition, I think 5th edition, and I loved that mechanic.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it. Some people do prefer the new one. It'll be really interesting to hear what the guys in Discord think. But I prefer the new mechanic because it adds a tactical element before the game's even started.
Yeah, it's almost like a little mini game, isn't it? I mean, you can set your list up to go second.
Yeah.
You know, and then you can take advantage of terrain, hide everything away, so your opponent gets first turn, and they effectively have a much reduced ability to take
other things as well. That's the other thing. Take other things as well. Take I might say to you as Mike, as a knight player, I might say to you, you play on your microphone.
Yeah, that's right.
I might say to you, you deploy first because you've got knights, and you might put them. So we've got a 6x4 inch board, and we're playing Dawn of War. You might put them in a corner.
Yeah.
I might go right. I'm going to go in the opposite corner because I've got manoeuvrability because I'm Eldar, for example.
Totally.
I can then negate some of what you can do, whereas now we've got this 1-for-1, it's quite hard to do that.
Yeah.
I can now negate whatever you do. The other thing I like about it as well, from a selfish point of view, is it speeds the game up.
Yeah, definitely. Because the whole you go, I go.
It takes a long time.
Yeah, it does. And the thing is, it's nice if if you're playing it sort of fairly casually, then you don't end up really doing the you go, I go so much.
So
Richie's just kind of crack on with it.
Richie's just said first turn can be so powerful. 100% it can, and that's why I think this is good because I think you can counter it better.
Definitely.
The other thing is,
you also get prepared positions.
Yeah, you get prepared positions. First turn is powerful for opening fire and deleting some of your enemy. But when you're talking about missions that require you to score the objective at the end of the game, this is something we saw a lot in competitive play in 7th and 6th edition. Missions that require you to capture an objective at the end of the game, second turn is huge.
Yeah.
Because you can make that final move onto the objective on the gamble that the game's going to end at turn 5.
Yeah.
So sit in your cover, protect yourself, sit in your transport, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You're going to give up first turn of firepower, but in the last game turn, I'm going to move on to an objective that you then might not be able to take me off because the game can end.
Because you get the very last move.
Yeah. That's hard not to cough down a microphone, isn't it?
Right.
I'll have to edit that out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So yeah, I think I really prefer that way of play.
Yeah, so the only thing I was going to say is that these are written on the mission sheets.
Yes.
So they do not apply to other missions
and
stuff. So,
but this is exactly the same as 2017. The +1 to your roll-off was applied to the missions in 2017, but we adopted it to every match play mission. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I am strongly considering adopting it to every match play mission.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things. Try it, see what you think.
Yeah.
You know, because I think we
used to use it in 5th and 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
So I just, having sat down and thought about it after I think Toby brought it up yesterday, I just think it's better. I just think it adds a tactical element. I think it's quicker. I think it's easier. I think it gives people, even going second against big, powerful, shooty armies, Tau armies, whatever, I just think it gives them more of a chance to counter.
Yes. Yeah, the only thing I would say, and this is just a sort of a thought that you'd have to do in order to prepare for that, is that you'd have to let your opponent know you're going to be doing it. So, because there is an element of tailoring your list to going first or second. Yes. So, you know, you might have to sort of prepare your opponent beforehand.
I have to chat to Winters about this. You know? I have to chat to Winters about this, but I think specifically, definitely for Warhammer, and I think I will do it for DZ, and I'm going to encourage him to do the same. I want to apply it to all games that we do. Yeah. Because I just think it's better. I just think it's much, much better.
There's nothing stopping you doing one or the other and mixing it up a bit, but it might get a bit
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for every game on Warhammer, full stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing Noel on Wednesday, okay? And we're doing a classic matchup. We're doing a narrative game. We're doing Eldar versus Slanesh because it's narrative, right?
Cool.
And we're playing power level because at the time of filming, whether I know the points or not, I'm not supposed to because it's not out yet, and I don't want to hurt.
And the power level hasn't changed.
Yeah. So we'll play power level. We're going to play Eldar versus Slanesh.
Yes, Ancient Doom, exactly. And finally get to see it.
And I am contemplating putting that rule in even for that game. But I don't know. So I might not yet because the rules pack, because I haven't got chapter proofed in hand. But imagine this. One of Noel's most powerful things you can do is hit you in combat turn 1.
Yeah.
And with the current You Go, I Go, it can be impossible to avoid that.
Yeah. With
this new deployment, you can avoid that. With certain ranged armies, it can be impossible to not get slammed by firepower in turn 1. Mm-hmm. With this new rule, you can avoid that.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do that I think makes it better.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's about adding that tactical versatility, isn't it? And it's another decision point, and it's another element that you can change.
Yeah, and the most important part for me I think, is it means that people going second have a bit of an advantage. Mm-hmm. And have more of a chance of surviving that first turn volley.
Or less of a disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. So I think that's a huge rule. I think we'll start to see that rolled out all over the place because I think it's so good, personally.
Do you think that might just become the kind of like the norm?
Like the +1 roll-off, which became the norm? I think it'll become the norm. Yeah. Cool. Right. That's an hour and a half. I think that's probably enough right now.
Yeah.
Because it's 10:30 and you want to go home.
Yeah.
It's not 10:30 in Jesse's world, but it's 10:30 here.
He doesn't sleep anyway. So.
I don't think he does. I think he just plugs himself in and charges.
Yeah.
I think that's all he does.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up. So we're both very excited about Chapter Approved.
Oh, yeah,
I think on the whole, there is nothing really but positive changes. There's nothing in it that I don't like. We haven't yet covered the formations, and actually I think that's a good thing because we don't know enough about them. So as soon as we get the Vigilus book in hand,
that's Vigilus anyway, isn't it? Yeah. So we haven't covered any of that.
As soon as we get Vigilus book in hand,
that worked out well. Almost like we planned it.
Yeah, we'll do a Vigilus book review type thing because I'm looking forward to the formations and I don't want to start spouting about them when we don't know the detail.
Yeah.
So we'll cover that at another day. So thank you very much for listening or watching, whether you were tuning in on Podbean, on iTunes, or on YouTube. Massive thank you to all the patrons who joined us tonight on the chat. Hope you enjoyed listening to it live. It's been really cool having you.
Definitely. Love the level of interaction. It's just another thing that's...
it makes it really easy to keep flowing as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes it really difficult to keep track of everything.
And it gives them something.
It's a good challenge.
It is a good challenge. So thank you very, very, very much for joining us and being patrons, you absolute legends and absolute heroes. We'll have this up for you guys tomorrow if you want to listen again, or if you've caught part of it and not all of it, you can listen tomorrow. Otherwise, for the rest of you, thank you for tuning in and for listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe, whether it be Podbean, iTunes, or YouTube. Big shout out to our sponsor, Element. Element are awesome, and they'll be sending me through Chapter Approved soon-ish.
Woo!
So Element are incredible. And it looks like they're going to give us a Blackstone Fortress box set to give away this month at some point.
I don't need one. I've got one.
I won't enter you into the competition, then you don't have to have it.
Right.
I don't want it, so I'm going to give it away.
I won't win it anyway. Could you imagine if I did?
Exactly.
You keep telling me I'm in these competitions, and I just think to myself, what if I actually won it?
Yeah.
It would be a nightmare.
I'd probably stop filming and redraw.
Yeah.
No, I do it live on Twitch now, so people can't claim falsities. Anyway, thank you to Element, absolute legends. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube if you listen to the podcast. We're just called Warhammer, and don't forget to check us out on podcast if you're watching us on YouTube. Also, don't forget to check out deploymentzone.tv, a website that we're both very, very proud of. Anyway, thank you very, very much for listening and or watching. We'll see you in the next one.